It's not that I was never depressed. It's not that I was never broken. But you have to decide what you want to do. You want to keep staying broken and not pick up the pieces, or you pick up the pieces, put it together, and make it stronger, right? You say, okay, I'm going to be stronger and stronger and stronger so that nobody can break me again. I find that she's one of the most secure people that I know personally, and that rubs off. It makes you feel very comfortable. She's secure on a whole other level. I remember when we just got married, and I think it was Prince or something like that, where I have a kissing scene, like a deep, intense kissing scene. And I was like, okay, I've just gotten married. And this one's releasing, and what's my wife gonna, think about this? And I was kind of apprehensive on that. She was so cool. Because again, I think Ranbir is old school like that. He has a lot of love, a lot of respect. He's so humble. Even at the success party, the way he came and gave me a hug, the way he came and gave Dad a hug, there was no ego about it that, oh, I'm the star, you come to me.
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. Today my guest is a man who has stayed relevant for so many years in an industry that is so harsh, that is so competitive, that is also giving in many ways. He's the man who's always been doing consistently, been secure and doing some great work. I'm of course talking about the very talented Vivek Oberoi. Hello sir.
How are you, Rudrani?
How are you?
It's such a pleasure speaking with you.
Of course.
And in my 2-decade journey, one of the people from the media that's always stood out for great questions, insightful thoughts, and just having a great time chatting with is you. So you're my favorite people to speak with.
You know that it is absolutely an honor, and you know that I'm fond of you very, very much because you're also among the very few people who
aside from the fact that I drag you all the time.
That's right. That's because you're a friend, you can do it. But I'm saying besides from that, also the fact that you still believe in authentic conversations and you're honest, which is, it's a very different world sometimes.
Only way to be.
Only way to be. But we'll start with that, Vivek. And I said that you've stayed not just relevant, you've stayed very secure in an industry that really is not a very conducive environment for a thing like that. And you have done what you wanted to do. Tell me, what does it take to be like that? And how it must have been?
I think two aspects to it, right? One is that right in the beginning of my career, when everybody was being launched, my father wanted to launch me. Bas Mustan Saab was signed, and he wanted to produce the perfect launch vehicle for me. Somewhere, something within me had the courage or the strength or the madness to go tell my dad that I don't want you to launch me. I'm going to drop my last name so as not to embarrass you. Be Vivekanand, then do a struggle round. And that lasted 18 months, and there was so much personal rejection that I had to deal with. People just telling me, you don't have it, you can never be an actor. So I dealt with all of that very early in my career. And when I got company, I knew I got it because of my talent, my efforts, my hard work, my commitment to cracking that audition, not because I'm someone's son. So it felt like my own success. It was validating for me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of validation, when you know your work, when you've put in the hours, when you've worked really hard for it, gives you a great sense of security in your ability, in your talent, and your commitment to something. And the second thing is, I had the great fortune of working with one of the most wonderful people in the industry, one of the most finest actors. I did 5 films with him in the early stages of my career, which is Ajay Devgn. And Ajay Bhai is one of the most secure actors that you'll ever meet. One of the most graceful, giving actors, right? I'll give you a small example. I remember being shocked when I saw company's first hoarding. I had tears in my eyes. I was emotional. That was my first film. But I also called up. The first person I called up, I went to see it with my family. I was standing at June Circle. And looking up at that hoarding with Ajay Bhai and me on it. And the first person I called was Ramoji, of course, my mentor, the one who believed in me and gave me that break and treated me like that. But the second person I called was Ajay Devgn. And I said, boss, you're an amazing person of another kind of, you're another class of your own. He said, why? What happened? I said, any star of your, caliber and success would have insisted, look, I'm the star. I'll be the main person on the poster and you'll be like a smaller part on it. You're a new kid. But he was okay with having me share equal space with him. Think of that generosity. Even today, after 20 years or 21 years, I don't see that happening. I hear so many stories. Arey, uska kam kara diya, uska ye kara diya, uska wo kara diya. It's art. It's poster art. At the end of the day, aren't you confident about what you've done in terms of your work? So these early influences and experiences in my career taught me to be extremely secure, even in the worst of times. I've never felt that, अरे क्या होगा? मुझे मालूम है, opportunity मिलेगी मैं चौका लगाऊंगा, कभी-कभी छक्का लगाऊंगा.
बिल्कुल.
And when you do that, people come back to you.
And they did. But you spoke about the fact, like, that of course you've been through everything that anyone can go through, particularly as an actor, right? And I mean, we've spoken on and off sometimes about it, but I feel like you've always come out to be this very positive person throughout those situations, which I think is an inspiration for people who are listening. And it gives me immense joy to see you in a series like this because you deserve more. And this is not me saying it because we know each other, because a lot of people on the internet sometimes say that, where is he? Why is he not being given more offers? Why is it not? Of course, you've also been patient, and I know that you just don't want to do something random for the heck of being and staying relevant.
Yeah, I try not.
But there is a lot of people who say, it's people who know about it. Yeah, that's moved on, and he did more after that. But why is it that they still don't see him for years? Because look at your graph. It's pretty much everything that you've done. And this, I think, I think a lot of people personally feel very happy when they see you doing things like this. I wonder your thoughts on that.
Well, firstly, thank you. It's very kind of you to say. And thank you to all the people who are watching this, who've given me so much love over the last 2 decades consistently. Look, I think, Rudrani, you have to learn very early in the film industry that know what you can't control. You can't control people giving you an opportunity. And in my career, it's always happened that I've realized no matter how much PR you do, networking you do, how many parties you attend, if they want you as an actor, they'll call. Take the case of Indian Police Force. Rohit Bhai and I know each other 20 years. We've been friends. You've come to our Cancer Patients Aid Association events. You've covered it. Every time I made a call to him saying, I'm doing a free screening for cancer a free cancer screening for the police people, for oral cancer because a lot of them chew tobacco, or for police women and the wives of policemen who we're doing breast cancer prevention screening. He's always there. And we've always talked. We've always said, साथ में कुछ करते हैं, let's do something, but nothing really manifested. And then one day he calls me out of the blue and he says, what are you doing? Where are you? I said, I'm here. He says, come over. He says, I've taken more than 3 years to write this. This is going to be my big debut on OTT. And one of the 3 principal characters is you. And I want you to know that the day I started writing this character, I had you in mind. I was like, wow, because coming from Rohit Shetty, that kind of respect and validation for you as an actor is very touching. Yeah. It's a very beautiful feeling. You feel like, okay, I've learned something in the last 2 decades. And somebody of that caliber is reaching out and saying, I believe in you. So that's how work has come. And you're right, I filter out a lot of stuff. I don't do a lot of stuff. I may do something completely risky. I may experiment sometimes. Because now I feel I can afford to. This is not what pays my bills. So I can afford to. I can do it for passion. I can do it for a quirk, an experience, to push myself as an actor. I can do it because I feel I want to be there for somebody or support somebody in an endeavor that they're trying to do and give back. And mostly, to be around good people that I enjoy working with. So I'm selective. I'm easy. But when I take on something, then I give it my best.
Like you have. It's fantastic, isn't it? You've always spoken so fondly of Priyanka, and I remember when I spoke to you about it, but you acknowledge the fact that it's also made you a different person in a wonderful way, and adds to this, to this humility, and to this self-aware, and to the secure person. Isn't that true?
It's very true. Look, I'm really lucky to have Priyanka in my life. I find that she's one of the most secure people that I know personally. And that rubs off. It makes you feel very comfortable. She's secure on a whole other level. I remember when we just got married, and I think it was Prince or something like that, where I have a kissing scene, like a deep, intense kissing scene. And I was like, okay, I've just gotten married. And this film's releasing, and what's my wife gonna, think about this? And I was kind of apprehensive on that. She was so cool. She was like, they should have shot this better, and you could have done this better.
She was chill.
She was so chill. I was like, what? It's like the first year of a marriage, and you're already so chilled out. So that taught me a lot about being secure, about trust, and then I value that trust so much. And because I value that trust so much, I always think, I think of a few people before I take decisions. I think, what would Priyanka think? What would my children think? What would my father think? What would my mother think? What would my sister think? These are the pillars of my life. For me, it's important what they think. And that's why it's not so important what others think.
Fair enough.
So I've given that 90-95% of gravity. Everything else is 5. So when there are trolls and the people randomly saying stuff, people who feed off, these are vultures, the social vultures that feed off negativity. When they talk about it, it doesn't matter. I look at it almost like a script. I said, this is a script of my life. I'm the principal character. And they're just characters. They're villains who have been given the dialogue to try out and hurt me. How I react to it as an actor, how I react to it as an individual playing my own life is in my hands. I can choose to pick a reaction or the other.
Yeah. But said so well, but because you said it, it reminds me of the amount of toxicity that you had to face in so many years. Very few people have. I'm sure there are a lot of people I'm seeing from the people I've known, and you've just navigated through that in a very different way. Anybody else, sometimes I think, would have been in a very different state of the way you dealt with it. And you've been handling trolling. From that time, right? Like, it's insane. And I think it's kind of admirable, but also a little inspiring. Ki sahi kar raha hai, aise karta hai, because today the world is so much more.
Yeah, look, Rani, I want to say this not purely as a question to answer in an interview, but also more for people who watch you. You have a great platform that has big reach, and I want to put out a right message on that. Is that look, this is where I've come, but I've also been that journey that you're probably going through at office or in college or in school, or there are going to be bullies. There are going to be bullies. There are going to be trolls. There are going to be vultures that will keep doing all of this, and it's going to affect you. But it's also your decision to allow how much to affect, So it's not that I was never depressed. It's not that I was never broken. But you have to decide what you want to do. You want to keep staying broken and not pick up the pieces, or you pick up the pieces, put it together, and make it stronger, right? You say, okay, I'm going to be stronger and stronger and stronger so that nobody can break me again, and not let it affect you. And the best way to do that is to prioritize what has true meaning in your life. It's in your hands how much meaning you put into something. If it's my relationship with Priyanka and I decide to put meaning into that relationship, value to that relationship, my relationship with my parents, I put value to that relationship. How do you put value? Today people put value in a critic or somebody who's a troll, saying, oh God, that person's trolling me, and people stay up at night being feared. I put 0 value, so it doesn't bother me. You have to figure out in your life how much value those people hold and why. Why are you giving them that much value? Is it because of something artificial around you that you think that they should be valued? Or it's because something real?
Yeah.
Give value to people who've been there for you. Your friend who's there for you at 3 a.m. at night when you call them and say, I'm in pain right now, come. Spend some time with me. Give value to that person. Give value to people who've been kind to you, who've been nice to you, who've been supportive of you. Automatically your life becomes smooth and easy. Everybody else gets out.
Talking of kind of people, Mr. Rohit Shetty's world. How did you, sort of feel to be on the first of the set? Give me a little insight on that.
I think 2 crazy experiences on the first day of shoot. So me and Sid were on set, and of course, first thing is like I try to be there as the earliest person on set. It's like a silly competition I have in my own head. I'd rather go early and sit on set and chill there than be late for something. I just don't like being late. But when I'm there, I see Rohit's already there before me. Then I go on set and he says, I want you guys to watch the scene. So I read the scene or watch the scene? What did he say? Because it's not a remake.
Yeah.
So what's there to watch the scene? So go there and he shows us a full edited version with all his assistants, his beautiful, amazing team, playing our characters and the movements and what we're doing. And that was so cool because an actor now suddenly doesn't have to think about, oh, I have to do this, I have to go walk to that chair, what should I do? Should I do this action? It's all done. It's pre-edited. This is where this is going to be, this is where this is going to be. You're seeing the scene and now you're deciding your performance, your inflection points, you're only focusing on that. So it brings out the best in you as an actor because you've taken away all the mechanics of it. He's already done it. That was the first experience. The second thing was, I think there was a toughish scene which required a certain level of performance and maneuvering, which I did. And as always, you finish a shot and you look towards your director to get a reaction. Good, not good, do it need me to do one more? So I looked towards him and suddenly on the mic I hear his voice booming across the set saying such wonderful things, such appreciative things, saying, you know, this is the reason why you were my first choice and you're such a fabulous actor. Things like that bump you up even after 20 years, especially because you respect Rohit. And when he says that, it makes a big difference. And then he ended it with saying, aapka ration card pakka hai. And I was like, I got everything else you said before this. But what is a ration card? You know, I was like so confused. Then of course I went up to him and the team at lunch break and I was like, ye kya funda hai? And they started laughing. Of course, because it's an inside joke between them. And they said, yeah, we have a system in our team because his team's been with him for like 15, 20 years. They've all been together, most of them. And he says, we have a thing in our team and we like working with someone when we appreciate them as an actor and as a person on set. We say, iska ration card pakka kar do, ab isko Rohit Shetty pictures mein baar aana hai. You know?
Cute.
So that was a great validation and it was a two-way street. I also felt likewise. I said, you guys are so amazing to work with. You know, Rudrani, on the last day, you have a rap and everybody announces a rap and it's a rap for this character, everybody claps. But post that, this was the first time in years that I felt the need to go and hug every person on set and say thank you because they made the experience so much fun and memorable. And I actually had withdrawal symptoms the next day. I was like, I'm missing the set, I'm missing all these cool people, they're so sweet, there's so much fun working with them.
Fantastic, yeah, it's lovely to know. You know, Shobita during one of my roundtables had said this, and it reminded me of you because you know, I know you vision it like that. She said it's very frustrating at some point that, well, if we've come very far, that we still think, in a broader perspective, a lot of people think that, you know, if you're not the leading character, you're not given that kind of credit when you've done enough. And she said, at a point it used to frustrate me, now it doesn't. Outside, it was never a thing. Tell me, you know, at some point you do agree, right, with what Shobita was saying?
No, I do. Firstly, I think she's a very talented actor herself and she's a very, very intellectual and mature.
Yeah, she is.
To be able to observe that. And I think it is a frustration that a lot of actors feel because it makes a big difference in how you're perceived. It makes and this is not how it is in other industries, right? It's our industry, especially specific to India, that you know, we have this mindset, which isn't fair, which isn't right, because there may be a smaller role on screen, maybe just for 10 minutes, but you think of someone because you really want them to be cast in that role because you know what they'll add as value. And it comes from a place of respect and love and not कि ये role तो ऐसे ही है, किसी को भी cast करो चल जाएगा. It's not that. But yet when they're on set, if you don't treat them with that, that's why when Dad did Animal, even though the role wasn't the lead or a long role, the impact of that role was amazing. And Sandeep dragged him and said, you have to do this. And I've Vanga to thank for it. Because, you know, he's given so much love and respect to my dad, both on and off screen. I've known Sandeep before Kabir Singh, post Ajay Devgn. When we used to shoot in Hyderabad, I used to meet him often. And he's just a great guy. Yeah, I just love his passion and commitment to the media. And the way he insisted that he kept telling me, sir, you have to do this role. You have to. I need you. I want you for this role. That made my father feel like the romance of the old days. You know, that there's someone who loves you and appreciates you as an actor. He doesn't need to do anything now. He's chilling, playing golf, he's happy with his grandkids. And then on set, the way Ranbir treated him. Because again, I think Ranbir is old school like that. He has a lot of love, a lot of respect. He's so humble. Even at the success party, the way he came and gave me a hug, the way he came and gave Dad a hug. There was no ego about it that, oh, I'm at the start, you come to me. No, nothing like that. We didn't even know. We were all chatting on the corner. He just came, suddenly hugged me from behind. I was like, oh, man, congratulations. And then we hugged that. And I told him too, I was like, you made it such a memorable experience for my father. It was like a hark back to the old days for him. He was so happy doing that. I think that experience is important for every character. You make them feel loved. You make them feel important. Rohit Shetty did that in Indian Police Force. Everybody who had even smaller bits and were there for a 2-day or 3-day or 4-day shoot were made to feel special. And that's why we want to go back and you want to work with them again. And then it's not about a transaction. It's about an experience. It's important that we change. It's possible. And it's important that we change it, make people feel like that. We have to be a little less transactional in our film industry. We have to get inspired by those stories and be a little less transactional.
So well said. I want to end it on this note. I was telling you last time about how a lot of your reels of your cute moments from Yuva, your romantic scenes from Satya, and they keep calling you like, the original, he's the green flag. Right? It's lovely to sort of people remember all of them. Hey, I want to know if you're checking out all the lovely. Sometimes do you get that? Do you see the kind of love that you get?
Honest, it's very rare.
You're not so much accurately.
I have a filter called Vivek Oberoi.
Is it?
Yeah, she will pick and choose something and send it to me, and I'll take a look at it because, I think it's extremely time consuming.
Yeah.
I think it's my way of trying to keep my focus and the artist in me a little pure. I don't want the good or the bad to influence me in any way. I want to keep that artist a little pure. I don't watch my own movies. Once I've done, I'm done. I don't want to go back and watch Company again or watch Satya again. I find it like it influences the way you approach new characters. You start to think, yeah, it does. Because if you see many great actors who I've looked up to and I'm inspired by, towards the end of their career, they become almost shadows of their past. They become what was amazing becomes now a style, and it becomes a ham. It becomes something that they're repeating again and again. You're not seeing them reinvent. And I think that's because of the constant feedback they're getting from people saying, sir, wo na aapka, wo performance, wo character. So you have to kind of filter that out and not allow yourself to repeat yourself again and again and again, because then that becomes a caricature of what you used to be. At that time it was new. Now you're just doing the same thing again and again and again. It's like you're your own mimicry artist in a way. You want to stay away from that. So yeah, I appreciate the love, and Priyanka does send it to me every now and then. Once in a blue moon, I'll check it out. When I'm getting a lot of love, I'll check it out, but I'm not really addicted to social media.
The question ending was, the proper question was, where I don't mind you telling that story, was that which means that we are going to see you hopefully for the fact that side again, right? The green flag romantic. Some way, can we, where do we see that?
A nice age-appropriate character.
Sure.
A nice age-appropriate romantic character. Because I can't tell you how many people I meet who are Satya fans who keep telling me, we're doing something like that again. And I'm in talks with somebody quite big and important who's been actually telling me for the last 2 years, we have to do one of these with you. We have to do one of these with you. And I finally said, okay, let's do it. Let's source that script and let's put this together. I think it'll be fun.
Thank you once again.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. And remember, like you always do, once you see it, I'm expecting your personal review
Always.
On my WhatsApp.
On your WhatsApp, I will. But it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.